It's such a delight to have you join us on yet another fascinating edition of Real Talk, where we bring it 100% to you. We talk about matters arising in the family, the society, and we keep it 100 with fascinating personalities. Joining us all the way from Milan, Italy is none other than Massive Mac. And of course, we've got beautiful ladies joining us across the globe. And today we've got interesting package for you. Massive Mac, how you doing?
I am well. I am well. I'm happy to be in the program today. It's good to be with you, Anita. And George is also here. It's good to be with you, viewers. Thank you for another day. Real talk.
You're most welcome, Sir George, all the way from Toronto, Canada. We appreciate you for joining in today as well.
Well, it is my pleasure, and I just want to welcome all the viewers from around the world. Thank you for joining us, and please don't forget to subscribe to this show.
Nice.
Thank you so much. Yes, do not forget to subscribe and also join us on all our social media platforms to be updated with what the Real Talk Show is all about, okay? Because we bring you real life happenings. And today is no exception, as we'll be taking you through a story that's making the news on social media. Watch this, and when we return, we'll be talking about it in earnest. It is Real Talk. Stay tuned.
I'm speechless. What's your thoughts on this?
I don't tell you several times, say, carry those children, go give their parents, go give their father back. You just had a joke. Carry those children, go give their father. I know if they take care of my own children, they take care of another person's children. Carry those children, go give their father. I don't fair tell you.
Obi.
Don't let this thing break quarrel.
I see you a joke. This thing makes sense to you.
I don't warn you. I don't warn you. Don't let this thing break quarrel.
This thing makes sense. What you they talk?
I don't care. I don't care what you they talk.
Children, when they
Carry
before
those
you come.
children. I don't care. Carry those children, go give their father.
What you they talk? Why can't you go give their papa? Children, when me say you know you. When you come meet me with them, you come and let children, them my life, they're my home, they're with me. You're going to worry with those children. So that I can't go give their papa. Who will take care of them? You know, they will. I beg. This does not make sense. Don't talk about again. We should talk.
Okay, welcome back. You're tuned to Real Talk, and this is what we're going to be discussing in earnest, okay? Step parenting. When you are a step parent, what are the things you need to do even before marriage? What are some of the decisions you need to make before accepting? Maybe you're meeting this person and they are single parents, okay? Because that's the situation right now. The lady you just watched is asking the man in question, what do you want me to do? You met me, before we even got involved, before we got married, you met me with these kids and you said you've accepted them. So what is happening? You're asking me to return them to their biological father. So who do I start with? I think Sir George, let me start with you. What are your thoughts after watching this video? What has been running through your mind, sir?
I think we lost him.
Uh-oh. Okay. Massive Mac, please just take it up from.
Yes, that's a very pathetic situation there, Anita. It's a sad one. I hope it is not true. I hope so, but I think it's true. It's a real thing playing out between a man and his wife that has other children before meeting him. So, yes, step parents, stepfather, stepdaughter, stepson, it's happening. A lot of marriages have that situation. And the best we can do is to talk about it and face the reality in step parenting. So, um, what I want to begin with is yes, it's a hard thing to do. It's not an easy thing to come by because you're coming into the life of this person that probably have children that are grown or children that are used to their own mother or their own father, biological father and mother. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
let's also explain that step thing, Anita. It is children that are not biologically one's children.
Yes,
It's
yes, yes.
so that's what happens. These children or the man is not their father biologically, but because he's married to their mom, he is a stepfather to them, and it's not an easy thing to come by. Sometimes people try to shy away from that reality, but you can't run away from it for too long. So um, there are things, methods, and ways to go about it. There are steps, there are ways we can cope with the step parenting. So, but I don't want to go too further. Probably as we go on, I give some of my
Okay.
own advice on the ways and methods to cope, how to be a good stepfather, a good stepmother, and even good stepchildren, if there are words like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for your contribution. While watching that, a lot was running through my head. But when she explained that she didn't hide the kids from him, she
Mm-hmm.
made him understand that she has kids. Okay? And before you
Right.
come into my life, you see me as one who has kids. Of course, you don't expect me to say because of marriage I should dump my kids and move on with you. So you accepted to be in that relationship or that marriage in quotes. And you said, you know what, you want to become father to these kids. Yes, maybe the man is under pressure. We don't know. But no pressure should warrant you to push you to that level of saying you know what, return the kids back to their biological parents, because if you had not accepted the woman with the kids, probably the marriage wouldn't have even happened in the first place. Okay, Sir George is back. Yeah, I was actually asking you, in case you're just watching, this is Real Talk and we are reacting based on the clip that was shown recently. Okay, and that clip was about step parenting issues. What's happening? The man in the relationship or in the marriage is asking his wife, his present wife, maybe he married her as a single mom, or let me say a single parent. Okay, and he feels it's time for her to send the kids packing. They should go meet their biological father, because he mentioned that he can't be taking care of his own children. So the way he sounded is like the relationship has built over time. It's not just a 1 year relationship. So in that marriage they also have kids together, and he's feeling so overpressured, and he feels the best thing is for him to concentrate on his own biological kids, and then the kids should go back to, I mean, the wife's kids should go back to their father. What's your thoughts on that clip, sir?
Well, you see, what you're seeing here is actually a lack of preparation for such
Mm-hmm.
type of relationship. Because to begin with, for you to enter into a relationship where kids are involved, it's not something
Mm-hmm.
that you have to count the cost before you get in there. It's no longer about
Absolutely.
you and I alone. There are so many
Mm-hmm.
considerations to have, and one of those considerations will be the children that are involved. Can you count the cost of accommodating them? How far can you go with them? If you're telling the woman it's time for you to send your children to their father's house, she can also tell you it's time for you to send your children to their mother's house, because it takes two to tango. It's not only one sided.
Absolutely.
It's not only one-sided. So what you are seeing
Yeah.
here is really where emotions are running high. There are so many things that are
Mm-hmm.
involved when it concerns people, marrying with children that are not grown yet or out of the house. And they, so like, Massive Mark was saying, there are so many pros and cons about these things, but also there are some things preparations and the things that people need to think about before they jump into such a relationship. And then we can go into, some of the things that are happening, during the relationship, the emotions that are running high, even the kids ought to be, considering the kids in anything like this will be the utmost important, except the two couple that are, thinking that they can
Absolutely.
make it, because it's a package deal. It's a package deal. So,
You see, yeah, what you said is so profound because I feel before you go into any relationship, whether the person is single or a single parent, there are things you need to bring to the table of discussion. What do we want? Who and who is joining us in this marriage, in this relationship? I think that should be stated before you even think of I want to be with this person for the rest of my life. So it won't be at the middle of maybe 10 years you've been with this man and he just wakes up and says, you know what, these kids, they are due for university. I can no longer bear the burden. They should go to their father and all that. What's your thoughts concerning that? What are the basic discussion couples or intended couples need to have, whether they have kids or they don't have kids, before even getting involved? Massive Mag.
Yes, very, very strong words. Now, the key word here is bonding. You know, a lot of many people, Africans, Nigerians, we don't know how to bond. Bonding is being cordial with each other, understanding each other very, very well, taking time to understand,
Hmm.
taking time to also tolerate. Bonding is about tolerating everybody's shortcoming because we all have our shortcomings. We all have our weaknesses. We all have those things that probably could be offset to other people. So bonding is the key. Now, what that man didn't do with those children is he didn't bond with them. He allowed them to. He probably was looking at them from a different angle. He wasn't bonding also. You see, all of these things needs a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of uh, you know, that wisdom, that sense of balancing things together. So the man didn't, he did none of this, and he fell out with those children. So bonding is the key, and a step parent need to understand that. Now that bonding means you also having some time with those child or those children. You know, have some private time, say some things, talk about things, open up. You know, let that child begin to look to you and see you as a father or see you as a mother through this bonding. So the relationship has to be there. You have to usually owning up to the fact that listen, this is now my children, it's my wife's children, so they are now my children. It's my husband's children, so they are now my children. So living up to that reality, bonding with them, growing understanding, learning to think like, reason with them, you know, because they are not used to you. You're a stranger for now, and but you need to bond with them. So bonding is a key
Okay.
word. Thank you.
Okay, so what we see there is lack of bonding. And another thing, as a parent, I'm looking at the fact that at this moment, this video has gone viral. How safe are these kids, their mental health? Because we see parents
Yes.
talk about sending, them back to their biological father. Sir George, that was for you.
okay.
Yes. I don't know
Okay.
if okay.
No, the network was kind of messed up a little bit. You just
Yes.
Oh,
sort of,
okay.
but actually, yeah, it's very dangerous because number one, you have to understand something. A lot of people, when they are emotionally involved, they say that love is blind. The marriage is an eye opener. So, but when you open your eyes, you have to open one, because if you open two eyes,
Mm.
you're in trouble, because you will always find something that you're going to complain about. So the point here is that, a lot of people, when they're getting into this relationship, They're only considering one another. Oh, I love you so much.
Themselves.
Okay, oh well, I can't live without you, type of thing. So now, so but what is happening is you to now get married to a family that is already made prior to you coming in with your own is a process which a lot of people don't do. So they think it's just about getting married, or let's just get married and then we're going to be together, and that is all that is into it. That is not, because it's a process whereby you can move. Okay, let us go and visit this guy. They stay there a little bit, and they will go. They come and visit you, and they stay there a little bit to have the children, to get to know one another, to understand what is really forthcoming. As you begin to do this eventually, then you come to the place where you feel comfortable enough to let your children know this is where we are heading, and then the children by this time might have already been able to accommodate themselves and be able to, mingle themselves with other children that are involved in the other party. And then you too, as adults, will now determine, is it safe to bring them together? So, but what is happening is, okay, for instance, whoever was posting this video out there did not even think about the children.
Yes,
They
you can
did
say
not.
that again.
If the children were actually the first priority, you should never have posted that video out there. If you go to every
In the first place.
television, whenever children's faces are there, if they're underage, they blur their faces. So why would you even post this particular thing out there? What you're doing is exposing your kids to all kinds of things.
The kids were not shown. Their images and voice were not shown.
The images were not there. Okay.
Yeah, it was just.
But someone somewhere knows the mom. Someone somewhere knows the dad. And before you know it, you know how the internet never forgets. Something happens and they want to link it. Oh, this is the child of that woman that was out there the last time talking about, or the husband saying she should return the kids back to their biological father. So there's always going to be that link. There's always going to be that incident that will happen, and somebody will say, oh, that's the woman, because you didn't drop from the sky. You're connected to a family, you're connected to friends, you have associates. You live in the Europe, or you live in the United States, or you live in Nigeria or in Africa or wherever. There is definitely someone that knows that person, and before you know it, the faces of those kids might be out there. In school, they might be bullied.
Yes. But we're still to ascertain if this is not a scripted content. Yes, because let me say that it's something they do now.
Okay.
Yes, but you see, it's a good thing if it's even scripted, because these are issues that have been on the line, or that have been going on secretly in a lot of families, and it has destroyed a lot of homes. It has destroyed so many children's lives, even the
Absolutely.
parents. So it's also a good thing that it's coming out to light, and we are talking about it like we're doing today. So whatever it may be, I think it's time to also address these issues. These are all the things that make up who we are as human beings. Being married into a family where you have to be a parent, a stepdad, a stepmom, you have to be a stepson, a stepdaughter, and but life has to go on. There has to be that cordial relationship. George was talking about the same thing we've said, and he said it more. Getting to know each other, it's the key, and the reality of accepting that now these children are mine. This woman was in a marriage before. This man was in a marriage and he had these kids. So these kids are mine now. So that reality is what brings in the bond, the cordial relating, And
Absolutely.
as the bonding goes, I've seen also videos where fathers that are stepfathers, at the point they become so connected to their stepson. Attached, that's the word. And it blossoms, many wonderful things happen, and the family really grows. And sometimes you won't even know the man is is a stepdad, or the woman is a
Hmm.
stepmom. Yes.
Yeah.
So, but this is it. This is what is happening in most
I
families.
love what you said there. I like the fact that you said it's scripted. So, in case anybody watching this and you've got some family dispute and kids are involved, you will know that the internet is not the best place to put it out there. Because today, I don't even get to understand whether people think before they post stuff on the internet. There are certain things that needs to just stay within the circle of where it's happening. It has no business going out there. In as much as you want to make your point, I mean, somebody is posting, they're crying. Okay, you're crying and you're filming yourself and you're posting it. Are you looking for pity party? We see a lot going on, and sometimes people will say, oh, it's a jay-z society, everything has to go on the internet. But if this is really scripted, it's a good one, because at the end of the day, people will learn a thing or two what is right to post out there, especially when kids are involved. Okay, can we talk about a situation where somebody is so happy that they didn't tell their spouse that their previous marriage or their previous relationship, they had kids, okay, and maybe they've been in that relationship or marriage for many years, donkey years, and then they discovered that. Are they going to be saying, oh, thank God I didn't tell my spouse, so there's no point, he doesn't even know, I have kids? Because even some men hide it to the extent that is when maybe he passes on, or he passes away, and then a scenario would just happen that the women will be bringing kids, and you're like, I didn't know he's got baby mamas, or he's got a wife before, and stuff like that. So can we even talk about it in that perspective? Sir George,
Yes.
please.
Well, these situations, they do happen often, especially in the context of most third world countries, where somebody is happily married at home, but have concubines outside without the wife or the family knowing. And so eventually at the point of their death, um, things will begin to happen, and people will begin to show up and say, oh, that's my dad too, and things like that.
Drama.
So that's a deplorable state, actually,
Hmm.
and it's something
Hmm.
that destroys families and destroys relationships, where all of a sudden
Absolutely.
the main family now is feeling like, okay, what are you doing? You coming here to claim our inheritance? How come we didn't know about
Hmm.
you all this while?
All this
If our father
while.
loved you and considered you to be part of the family, why? How come he never told us about these things? So, men that are actually doing such things are not considered to be great men at all. I think those type of people, I'm serious. They go down, their images are not very well received in the community, because if you have the guts to go out there and sleep with a woman and have a child, have the guts to actually let your current
Oil.
wife know. Yeah. So, if it's an accident, bite the bullet. Do what you have to do, because it's not all about you.
Mm,
If you're thinking about the children,
absolutely.
even the current
Yeah.
children with your own wife and that particular child, who is your biological child, you must think
Yeah.
about their welfare too. It's not just, going over there to give them money and then all of a sudden at your
Mm-hmm.
death, and then he's coming to claim what he believes that belong is part of his. And the main family now, they squabble all over the place. It is not good at all. So these are
Thank
things that they
you.
have to think about before they even start jumping into having kids all over the place. Somebody needs to
Okay.
take note
This
of
is
this one.
really brilliant. Thank you so much, Sir George. You're watching Real Talk. We need to take a quick break, and when we return, the discussion continues. Do not go anywhere. Okay, welcome back. You're still watching Real Talk, where we keep it 100. We talk about matters arising in every, phase of life. Okay, and today we're looking at step parenting. When it comes to step parenting, what are the issues on ground? How do you tackle them? Because one thing about this very show, we don't just talk about what's happening. We look for solution. We also talk solution. So now let's talk. What is the way forward? How can we handle step parenting, whether you're the man in the relationship or the woman who is the step parent, basically? Massive Mac joining us
Yes.
from
Yeah.
Italy.
Thank you. The first, my own views on what I see as a step to helping step parenting is number one, never speak ill of the ex um, partner in the family. Never speak ill of that ex husband or ex wife in the family because when you're doing that, these kids are also listening that this new man is condemning their dad, their biological dad, or this new man is condemning their biological mom, this new woman, however it may be. So I never speak ill of that. It's a past. It's gone. It happened, and whatever happened that time is gone. So you need to be together with your family and look forward and not remembering the past or condemning, trashing out the man or trashing out the woman, making them look like, you know, just that cussing them out in front of the
Yeah.
kids. Number two of my own suggestion is don't think you can really replace the biological father or biological mother.
Mm,
Don't strive. Don't do all in your power. Don't do that. Be yourself, but bring in,
okay.
like you said earlier, bring in that bond. Let that bond come in. Let it be natural. Don't force things. Because at the point, these children too might be telling you, "Listen, you're not my dad. Listen, you know how kids can be.
You're not my
Yeah,
mom. Uh huh.
more. But if you play it cool, take it on the roll, each day, a step at a time, they begin to see you and appreciate you. So don't force the replacement thing on the kids. Then also,
Okay.
it's a hard one. It's a hard one to do. Avoid playing favoritism when you now have your own kids too with that person.
Mm, don't
It's a
show
hard
difference. That's really a
Yes,
hard one, really.
it's
It's
a
a
hard one
hard
to do.
one.
I know it's a hard one. So, but
Okay.
mostly when you're doing it in the view of the other kids, you could show that
Yeah.
in in the closet, but not in that open view. You're trying to make them see that your own kids are the favorite and the best and all that. It kills the bond, it kills the whole vibe,
Yeah.
like you say.
Okay,
So
thank you.
yeah,
I like what you said concerning don't try too hard to be their biological, like act like you are the main person because you have situations whereby the kids are finding it very difficult to accept you into their life. They can't even imagine that dad and mom, they are no more together and mom is starting her life with you. So that is actually one area where they are still struggling with. And when you're trying so hard to come in, some even become very resentful. I've seen situations where step kids start, setting their step parents. Oh, good to have you join us. Our beautiful queen,
Diva,
Diva.
Didi.
Didi, yeah, Diva Didi, we appreciate you for coming on the show. Okay, so we have situations whereby the step parents start resenting, okay, sometimes because of the way they were not accepted into the family, okay, and they're like, okay, I'm going to show you. Once I marry your mom, I'm going to show you the stuff I'm made of. And probably that's what's happening. Yes, we have situations like that. And then we also have situations where the kids are saying, you want to force yourself into our mom's life. We're going to deal with you. So they gang up against, the man. Yes. several, it happens. So how do you handle such situation, Sir George?
Well, there is a situation that happened here in Toronto, actually, where a man married, into the family, a woman with a few kids, and then eventually they have their own son. But now, they've been together for a long time, but when a squabble came between the woman and the man, the children now joined with the mom and was always beating up this man to the point where, yes, to the point where
Oh,
this man, it just happened here in Toronto, and where this man was so, beaten, and a situation that happened, and the following day, the man went to his office while he was narrating the story to his colleagues. He slumped and died.
Oh,
oh no,
Yes, he slumped and
oh
died.
no,
they
that's
So
beat him
heavy.
so hard.
yes,
They beat
yes.
him so hard.
So, and so when you look at some of these things, it is something that people ought to consider. Not everybody can
Mm-hmm.
accept multiple family situation like that. So
Hmm.
some women and some men choose not to. They choose to have you there, and I raise my own children until they've grown and moved out, and then we can come together. Because there are issues
Oh,
that not everybody's prepared for that. Not everybody's
absolutely.
psychologically, emotionally, mentally prepared for such. There are some people that are short-tempered. And so,
Hmm.
like in a situation like this, what you need to do is to consider number one, everyone involved. Do you
Involved.
have the kind of
Hmm.
patience that it takes to bring these people, bring the other family to you? Because it's not easy. There are resentments, like what we said. There are,
Mm-hmm.
like shock to even to the kids, and sometimes they cannot deal with it, because if their father is still alive and they're going to go see their father and they come back home, there are so many things that are involved in that. So a lot of people choose to remain single, date, or even stay with your own kids. I stay with my own kids. We can come together, during festivity,
Hmm.
whatever, when we visit and all that kind of stuff, until they are grown and out, and then we can come together. So there
Okay.
are so many situations, where this type of thing happen, and then you see abuse, physical abuse,
Yeah.
sexual abuse,
Yeah.
all
Mm-hmm.
kinds of things that can happen. So people ought to
Yes.
think very seriously, and look at the journey, not just a year, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you
Mm-hmm.
able to handle 20 years of relationship? Can you handle it? Can you be a parent to such an individual as your own? Like what you guys were saying, Mark was saying, do not show favoritism. That is one area
It's
where
difficult.
parents, let me tell you something.
It's
It is not
difficult.
difficult. It's not difficult. It is not difficult if you are thinking in a holistic form. If you're thinking about those kids as your own adopted kids, if you're thinking about
Okay.
he's thinking about her children as, his own adopted children. So it is like that. Now they are your kids. They are your kids through marriage. So you would treat every single one of them the same. Don't go hiding and buying things for your own children when you leave her own. And you don't go buying things for her children when you leave his own. Because these things, they come up. Children, they
Okay.
don't think, they just say it. Daddy, daddy, daddy just bought me this. And then it
Yeah.
becomes an
Yes.
issue. So,
Yes.
we have to really think seriously before entering into it. There are so many advantages to
Okay.
this. It helps with the finances. Because two parents that are working,
Mm.
especially in North America, one person can be
Yeah.
helped staying at home with the children while the other one goes to work, and both of them can bring their
Okay.
finances together. You don't have two bills, you have now one bill, except for the kids,
Mm-hmm.
the way you can combine together. There are so many advantages, but not everybody is set for such.
Okay, I'm going to explain why I said it's difficult. Okay, what I meant by is difficult to not show that
Favoritism.
favoritism, like like you mentioned, is the fact that some kids they just want to be mean to their stepmom or their stepdad. They don't give 2 cents about what you do, whether you break your hands for them, whether you try to go overboard just to make them happy. In a situation like that, how do you handle it? You're trying to shower these people with love, these children with love. You're trying to bring them close to you. You're trying to show them, I'm not trying to be your mom. I'm not trying to be your dad, but I just feel, as a family, we need to bond, like you mentioned about Massive Mac. We need to bond. We need to, get close as a family, do things together. It could be picnic. Let's just know that, we have one goal as a family to achieve. And all that is not being appreciated. How do you handle such resentment and situation, basically?
Yes, that's a very good one. My own view on this is understanding and full of knowing people's boundaries. Um, Boundaries. Everybody have where I mean a limit to step into their privacy. So if you understand that these kids are not yours, these kids have how they reason, they have their way of doing things. Like we said, don't force yourself on them. Understand and give them their boundaries. It's not like you're creating a room where people become unruly. It is that you understand that they have their own boundaries too. So understanding boundaries is the key to children that are very naughty, children that want to probably be intentionally naughty to their stepfather, stepmother. Understanding the boundaries. Also, understanding that it's not a day thing, like George said. It's a process.
It takes
So
time, yeah.
yeah, so it's we go through the process. Life is a process on its own. Also, there's something that parents do time, and that is creating what you call unrealistic expectations. You know, um, what I mean by that is some father, because they are trying to win that child, they will be they'll be putting out arrangement things, they'll be saying things to make that child feel good, and sometimes they don't live up to those expectations. They just want to make the child happy or something, and they don't. So that's why understanding the boundary, knowing that it's not a day thing, it's a process that we build through time. We
Okay.
go through bonding, knowing ourselves, building ourselves, and being cordial. Being cordial is fading out in most families. Everybody is naughty. Everybody is high-headed. Everybody wants to do things their
Hmm.
you know. So we can change all of this. Believe me, it's nothing
Okay.
hard to do. It's nothing hard to do. It's just a matter of we being real and
Ready to, yeah.
submissive and cordial, and just some of these things don't really need you don't need to tell people to do them. It's in us. Human being has all this nature in us, but we tend
Okay.
to take it off, and we want to be high-headed. We want to be tough. We want to look, I'm the man. You don't come around, I'm the man, and that's what is killing a lot of families. That high-headedness. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Massive Mark. We need to wrap it all up today
Let me
on the
add to
show.
what
It has been
Massive
a,
Mike.
yeah, I'm gonna, okay, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
know.
give you a venue so you wrap it all up with what I'm going to ask you, sir.
Okay.
So we've been talking intensively about how to deal with step parenting issues. I want you to also address a situation whereby um, the parent or the step parent sees something the other child is doing, but the child feels because you are not my biological parent, you do not have the audacity to correct me. How do you handle such situation? And then you can add to whatever it is you want to say, sir.
First and foremost, what I was going to say to add to what Mark was saying is be a family before you become a family.
Wow.
Be a family before you become a family. Because what happens, what we are dealing with here is psychological issues, emotional issues, physical issues, and all kinds of issues. So now what happens with that is when you prepare the children before the two families come together and have that notion instilled in them, imbibed in them, that when we come together, we are becoming one family, not two in one, but one family. And once you are able to acclimatize them to that notion, and it is acceptable, because you got to prepare them for a period of time before you come together. By the time the two families come together, you've already prepared the two sides of the family. Everybody is excited to come together. And it all depends about two parents being one and making sure that they merge the two families together, that they see themselves as one and actually desire to come together as one before you come together. Now, I say that because there are so many kids that might not accept it because of how close they are to their dad or whatever the case might be, but yet you can nurture them into it. Kids are very adaptable. They are very adaptable. Very, very. But it depends on how you see it, how you deal with them, how you nurture them into it. Now, remember, both parents have to be looking in the same direction together. They have to be one in the sight of both extended families, so that when they see that you guys are united, you're not partial to your own or to this other side, kids will adapt easier. So what happens most of the time is there is this insidious way we deal with things. We do the shine face thing, the eye service thing. When we all together, we act like one, but when you go to the bedroom, you start talking, oh yeah, I did this. No, you see, when a parent start hearing that, the same way you would have dealt with it if it was your own child that they're talking about, deal with it that way. Then the children will now begin to, take into that notion that, oh, I can't come against this other family, or I can't come against this other parent because we are now one. And when they accept it, you see them loving one another as one family. I have seen it happen so many times successfully. I have so many friends that have done it very successfully. And they deal with issues, but they solve them as they come. But love is the key. If the foundation is love, you can overcome everything.
Woo! What a great way to wrap up today's edition of Real Talk. Thank you so much, Dr. Sir George, all the way from Toronto, Canada. You've really spoken so well, and we're really grabbing all those amazing wealth of knowledge. And not to forget Massive Mac, who is also the producer, the brain behind all our production, okay? And he's also contributed greatly to today's show. We had a fantastic one. BD joined, but I think her network kicked her off. We look forward to bringing you yet another interesting, well-packaged show next time. So all you need to do is follow us on all our socials so you can catch up with what is happening with the Real Talk family, okay? Because we bring it real and we keep it 100. It has been a wonderful show. I am Ambassador Nita. Do have yourself a wonderful time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you.